All right, here we are. Welcome. This is my online office hours and announcement time. I'll be posting these each week, recording them on Wednesday and posting them shortly after for not just my online class, but my in person class as well. And here we are, 2 days into the new semester, and we are week one. I call week one here an introduction into anatomy and physiology. So, again, we go over the basics of anatomy and physiology, go over some major terminology, including anatomical terminology. And so the first week hasn't been without some hiccups. So, this announcement here is for my online class. Previously, if you were working on the online labs, you may have had an error message that looked like this. I spent the afternoon working with Scientific Interactive, and we've gotten the lab set up. So when you go to your Canvas now, you'll go through modules or you can go through assignments. But what will happen now is if you click there, it'll take you to the link. So now in this, as opposed to uh, previously, if you click on the tab now, it'll take you to the canvas, to the assignment. So the online lab assignments are all set up. I encourage you guys to get those started, as many of them are kind of introductory. Don't worry about here. Let me pop up the modules here. A number of you have mentioned already that it's taking some time to get the actual lab kit. So you'll see that there's one that's called lab inventory. So don't worry about lab inventory just yet, but you can get getting started, lab safety using the vScope, and I'll be publishing anatomical terminology here as well. So those 3 or 4 labs, which are fairly rudimentary, will be nice to get started there. But again, just want to always spend this time kind of giving you an overview of what to expect here for the chapter or for the week, as well as an idea of what to look forward to, especially as we have an exam here almost a week from tomorrow. And so chapter one is probably going to be all the material that'll be going over in this first exam. We're going to be talking about, the definitions of anatomy and physiology. You can see there. That also includes some anatomical terminology. So things like the anatomical position is going to be important to identify, right? What are the keys here in terms of the anatomical position? So again, we've talked about some of the big concepts as it relates to uh, anatomy and physiology and the subsets of anatomy and physiology. The anatomical position, I just showed you that one. Some of the other things that we'll have to identify are those body planes and the sectional planes. So, being able to identify the coronal, sagittal, transverse, and oblique planes. That's going to be important in the first exam. Again, it's going to be heavily weighted towards knowing anatomical terminology. So, we talked about the anatomical position, body planes and sections. Another thing to be familiar with is the body cavities. So, the body cavities, we've got this slide here that goes over the dorsal body cavity towards the back and the ventral body cavity. And the dorsal and ventral body cavities have subsets, so you can see that the dorsal body cavity is made up of the cranial and the vertebral cavity, whereas the ventral body cavity is made up of the thoracic and abdominal pelvic cavity. So you can see both the thoracic and thoracic abdominal cavities there involved in the ventral body cavity. So again, as we've mentioned, anatomical position and anatomical planes and sections, those body cavities and regions, and then using appropriate anatomical terminology to identify many structures. So whether it is being familiar with the medical terms or the anatomical terms of different body regions, that's going to be important. So practicing those different regions, many of these are common, right? So facial refers to face, uh, oral or oris refers to mouth, axillary or axilla is the armpit. So knowing some of these anatomical terms is going to be important, as well as the anatomical directions. And so anatomical directions as well. Put up a slide there for that. So those directions like superior, inferior, medial, lateral, anterior, posterior, proximal, distal, all those terms are going to be important to know here in this first exam. So it is heavily weighted in terms of the big topics related to anatomical terminology, being able to identify and define the terms anatomy and physiology, being able to identify and define the anatomical position, understanding the body planes and sections, as well as the body cavities, using appropriate anatomical terminology, whether it's directional terms or, as we mentioned as well, the actual region, like the name of those terms in terms of the region. The rest of the exam will include things like medical imaging, as well as the definition of homeostasis and the importance of that. So we're thinking about negative and positive feedback mechanisms, and all that material that are related to some of the, I guess we can call it vocabulary, metabolism, catabolic, and anabolic types of reactions that occur, and being familiar with those as well. So the idea is again to be familiar with anatomical terminology first, and as well the ideas and concepts related to homeostasis as well. But I'm going to keep this brief. I think that's about as much time as I'm going to spend here, kind of going over some of the uh, beginning chapter one material that you might need or refresh for a the upcoming exam here. And as we progress through the semester, I'll make these a little bit longer, but again, I just want to focus on the main topics and keep this brief and as expedited as possible. So, again, thank you guys for your time, and I look forward to seeing all your responses through the exams, the assessments as well, the lab assessments as well. So, you guys take care, and I look forward to seeing you soon, seeing your work soon as well.